Welcome to another episode of the Pickled Perspective. I'm your host, Rob Winters, and today we are going to talk about the TikTok ban or the possible TikTok ban. I still kind of have a thought that it won't happen or that it's going to get reversed after it does happen, but time will tell. So, if you're not familiar with what is going on with TikTok, the US government is planning to ban TikTok for US, I guess, citizens, or at least for anyone in the US, beginning January 19th, 2025. So, there will be, implications for creators who make money on the platform, for those who rely on it to connect with other individuals, etc. So, a little bit of background on the ban in general. It's been in conversation since the uh, last presidential administration. So, when Trump was in office the first time, this topic came up. And, it's kind of been going back and forth over the last several years. So, we're at the point where the ban has been upheld through this last round of legal battles. Um, why it's being banned, or at least why it's been pushed to be banned, is that the concern is that foreign governments, which would be China, as ByteDance is a Chinese held company, is potentially, collecting user data in order to manipulate the algorithm. That's, sort of at a very high, very basic level. Although I would argue, don't all social media companies do the exact same thing? But I guess that's not the problem. More so, it's the problem that data is being used or possibly collected and used by a potentially non friendly um, counterpart. So, if it is banned, what really does that look like for the creator community? So you've got creators who instantly lose access to their audiences. They lose how they connect. They lose how they promote products, how they promote services, how they share their content. Depending on what source you're looking at, within the US, there are between 150 and 170 million active users on TikTok, with I think it's 1.6 or 7 billion worldwide monthly active users. So there's a ton. And if I'm looking at my stats, 18 to 29-year-olds are the biggest group. 63% of teens are on the platform. 25% of active users publish all of their content publicly, so not private, open to everyone. Um, 41% of TikTok users said getting news is a major reason they use the platform. Would never go to TikTok for news, but that's like going to Facebook for news. Choose your poison. It's the third most downloaded app in the world, and users spend an average of 52 minutes per day on TikTok, which, if you're a doom scroller, you're probably on TikTok. So it's a great resource if you're putting content out there. So I can understand the fear that podcasters and creators have at potentially losing this very important source. Um, Now, thinking about what do you do if it really goes away? So you should always, in my opinion, plan for the worst case scenario. You can't hope that the next administration will come in and decide to save it or get rid of the current ban. um, they could, but even if they did, who knows? Maybe there's a period of time where TikTok is unavailable for a month or 6 months or a year. Who knows? Maybe it's a day. Maybe it, who know? You just don't know. So, if you have used TikTok or really any social media platform as your primary source of data collection for your users, you don't want to do that. You should never do that. You truly need a website or something with a database capacity to collect user information. So, emails, phone numbers, names, these are the most valuable data points you can get for contacts. These are how you're going to get in touch with people. Yes, social media can get that for you, but if it's getting it on your behalf, you don't have access to it for the most part. It's owned by that social media platform. So, like with TikTok, when it's cut off, you are cut off from those people. And it's very unlikely that you're writing down people's names. You probably don't have access to even view their emails if you even know it. So, this is why you need some way for them to be subscribing to you, whether that's through an opt in form on your website or an email list, something like that. Um, and coincidentally, now I would love to, with this next thing I'm going to say that, I had so much insight and foresight that I planned ahead, and, we knew this was going to happen, and we wanted to make sure everybody was going to come to our platform and have just the perfect tool for this. But really, what I'm going to talk about was something that we implemented because we saw a need for our own users, and it's completely coincidental that we released it yesterday on December 11th, and we're talking about this band now. So we released upgraded embed players, and there's an option to turn on a subscribe button. With that subscribe button, it will open a form um, within the or on the embed player. So even if that embed player is not on a PodOps website, if you've embedded it into your Wix site, your WordPress site, Drupal, whatever you use, the form will open and the individual can put in their name, email, phone is optional, and they can also create a password. So this gives them access to our listener portal if they ever want to utilize it. But that lets them subscribe to your content directly from your website. And then that information is stored within your PodOps account in the subscriber section. So, not that you're using the email and SMS marketing tools within PodOps, but you could. So, the information's there if you decide to start marketing to those individuals, or if you want to do outreach, or you want to send newsletters. So, it's that repository that I'm talking about that social media doesn't provide to you, that we're trying to bridge that gap. And again, I would love to tell you that I planned ahead so well, knowing this ban was really going to happen, that we just perfectly timed this release. But it was actually looking at what our users needed. We see a lot of users building custom websites, and they're not finding a way to capture their contacts or their potential leads. And we wanted to make sure that we gave them some capacity to get that information very easily, especially at the time when somebody's engaged with an episode. If they really like something and that's when they're passionate about it, that's when they're going to click the button. We don't want to take them away from the episode. We don't want to take them away from your webpage. We want them to be able to do it right there. So this helps bridge that gap. So this is what I'm hoping, will help our users. Even if you're not a PodOps user, this is where you want to start to think of: do you have a form on your website? Is there something that somebody can put their name and email on? Where are you directing them to? You want to make sure you're sending them to a page where they can put in that information. Don't just ask them to like and follow you on social. I don't think Facebook's going away anytime soon, but who knows? They could change the rules or the algorithms or whatever that may be, and potentially you lose followers or access. Anything can happen when you don't control the platform. So, um, oh, there, my computer wants to restart. That's fun and poorly timed. Let's just turn that off. Um, so again, kind of thinking of some best practices. So, what could you do if you did rely on TikTok today? Start building your email list immediately. Your time is short. You've got just over a month to try to engage as many of your TikTok contacts as you can before you potentially get cut off. Like I said, always plan for the worst and assume you are not going to have access to them via that platform after January 19th. If you are a PodOps user, I would suggest that you go into the customization area or check out our help documents. We are this week, especially, we've been updating all the help docs, um, and take a look in the customization center. There is a toggle button. Click on enhanced player. It will update all of your players to the new player. And then you'll see a section that's called buttons. Click on subscribe. That will that will open up or add the new subscribe button to all of your players by default. You can, of course, use all the color customizations, but make sure you save it. It'll put the button on there. You don't have to build any forms. You don't have to do anything else. If you are not a PodOps user and you have a podcast website, whether it's WordPress, whatever it is, make sure you've got a form on there that's really easy to use, where people can put in their name, their email minimum. Give them a checkbox to opt into communication so that you're compliant. Come, any point you want to email them, and make sure it's really easy. And as you start to put out your videos, your posts, whatever it is, make sure that that form is on all of your pages and you're directing people to it, or at least make it a pop up on your website so people can get to it. Um, yeah, so like I said, just plan ahead. Take as much time as you can, as they potentially are going to run the clock out on TikTok and assume it's going to go away. If you have questions, we do live demos. You can actually go to thepodops.com. There's a big purple button. You can book a 30-minute demo. We can show you the system if you are unfamiliar with it and actually show you how to set up that subscribe feature in the embed player if you're curious. So don't hesitate to reach out if you're a Podops user or if you're just curious about the platform. If you're using other platforms or other tools to collect information from users and market to them, I'd be interested to hear what it is. Feel free to plop it in the comments. And if you are a TikTok creator, I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on the ban as well. So throw those in the comments, and I will talk to you all next time. Have a great day and happy creating.